Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm painting my Jeep Cherokee. It's going to be a pretty cheap paint job. I bought all of my paint for under $100. I picked this paint up from Tractor Supply. I like it so far, have no complaints with it, so that's what we're going to be using on my Jeep Cherokee. They also have it in a spray can. I picked some of that up as well. That way I can do some touch-ups as well as some different colors in the build. I'm going to stick with orange for the body, black for the trim. But first things first, we got to get to sanding. So before I start sanding too much, I'm going to be removing or covering anything that's going to say black or things that I don't want to paint over, like lights or any trim pieces. I'm also removing the door handles and mirrors so that they can be painted separately in the garage. I'm also having to drill out some rivets on the side here, and that's where the bumper trim had come around. There's a clip in there that's riveted in. I was just going to drill those out and then fill those holes later with a new rivet without that bracket and just paint right over it. So as I'm sanding, I'm just using a 120 grit sandpaper on an orbital sander. I'm not too worried about going all the way down to primer or all the way down to bare metal. I just want to knock off that clear coat as much as possible, and anywhere where there is no clear coat, I'm just going to give it a good sanding. That way the new paint has something to adhere to. So I started sanding down the side a little bit and I found some cracks. So I decided to chase the cracks, get rid of any old Bondo that was there. And unfortunately, there's a bunch of body work that needs to be done to the side of this thing. So I'm gonna have to pack it up and start again tomorrow. Let me show you what I got going on here real quick. Started sanding down and found where somebody has put an inch thick layer of Bondo in the side here. Now I had suspicion it had been wrecked, but I didn't think that somebody would do that bad of a job. But I started chasing the rust under here, and you can see where it's all cracked up in here. So I gotta get rid of all that Bondo, and I'm gonna try to repair it right. So I gotta run to Harbor Freight real quick, pick myself up a stud gun, and learn something new today. Now for the 30-minute drive home. They didn't have one on the shelf. It's a high theft area, so I had to ask so somebody could get one out of the back. Waited a little bit, but that's all right. Kind of sucks that they got to do that, but it's the world we live in now, right? So I got my stud gun. Never done this before, and I'm really impressed at how well it works. Now, I'm no expert in auto body, but some tips that I do have is you want to work in small sections. You don't want to glob on too much. If you glob on too much, not only will it be harder to sand, it'll take longer to cure, but it'll also create air bubbles underneath that you're going to have to work out later and reapply more Bondo. So after all the sanding is done, I'm gonna give it a good wash down with some Dawn dish soap, scrub it really good, get it as clean as possible, and then get it as dry as possible. Next, I'm going going to go ahead and tape off all my windows, mask everything off. I'm going to use some cardboard over the bigger areas. I'm also going to mask off anywhere there's a hole in a door from the inside. It's amazing the amount of overspray that you can get through a hole in a door, and next thing you know, your seats are orange. It's also good if you can have a little bit of help. I had Mrs. Venture come out and give me a hand with this. It's a big help for somebody to hold some cardboard while you're taping off. Right here I'm using a turbo Rust-Oleum can. I was actually extremely impressed with these cans. The fan on these, how they spray, is incredible. But I'm going to be doing some black graphics on the hood, as well as some black graphics up the side of the Jeep, and I think it's going to be really cool, and it should turn out pretty awesome. So we're all sanded down, and I got some black paint in a couple of key areas. And my plan is, because this theme is Halloween Jeep and it's orange and black, I got some bat decals that are removable. These are like wall clings, stick and remove, and I'm going to stick these on there, paint and peel them so that I can leave some black bats up the sides. I also have a plan for the hood. You guys will have to wait till the end to see that. So the time is finally here. Actually gonna lay down some paint. I'm really excited. I have not been able to paint for the last few days. It gets really windy here, and I was waiting for a beautiful day where I can paint outside. I don't have to worry as much about fumes. I am gonna wear a respirator, but overspraying my garage is gonna be absolutely terrible. So a couple of things that I am gonna do is I'm gonna move my wife's car because I'd hate to get orange paint on it. And I'm gonna cover up that of the Jeep over there. That way we can make sure we don't get too much orange paint on it as well. So with this paint, you want to make sure that you follow the instructions very well. When mixing the hardener in, if you don't use the exact ratios that it says on the can, you will end up with uncured paint, and it takes forever to dry. Also with this paint, you don't want to lay on too thick of a coat. If you do, it'll also take way too long to cure, and then you'll end up with a bunch of uncured paint, and that's not good. Now, because it takes some time for the paint to dry and it gets windy throughout the day, I'm going to roll my Jeep into the garage, let it cure, and then I'll roll it back out in the morning to finish up. We're all painted, got my second coat, and it's still a little gummy right now, but it's still curing. The best time to remove the tape is when it's still a little gummy. It'll come up a lot easier before the paint fully cures. So I'm going to be doing that now, and you guys will get to see some of the bats, which is pretty cool. Alright, now all the orange is done. I've got all my tape pulled. Now it's time to start putting mirrors, door handles, lights, things like that on. But first, down here on the bottom, what I've decided to do is from here down, it's gonna get some bed liner. So it'll have a nice layer of bed liner across the base here, and it'll help protect it, as well as I think it'll give it a nice look.
So overall, I'm really happy with the way the Spooky Jeep turned out. I'm actually surprised at how well the paint worked, but I also ran into some hiccups, and it's not without imperfections. Hopefully you made it to the end of this video. If you did, please smash that like button, and as always, don't forget to subscribe.